Good evening, sweetheart. How was your day? How do you think it was? I'm tired of this life. What happened? Why are you so upset? You're asking me why? Is this how we're gonna live our lives? In the past 5 years, we haven't progressed in anything. We live in this rundown apartment. We don't even have a car. It's a shame talking to anyone. Sweetheart, I know it's been tough, but don't worry. I'm hoping I'll get that promotion soon. Dad, you're home early today. Alex, we can play that game you wanted. Why don't you go get everything set up? Now can I see that smile? We have each other, don't we? We have such a wonderful son. Things will get better, Hannah. I'm sick of hearing your excuses. After coming home from a long, tiring day at work, Jake watched as his wife, Hannah, stormed into the bedroom. He hung up his jacket and dropped his bag onto the table. When they got married almost 10 years ago, their relationship wasn't like this. Hannah was supportive and loving. But with time, a growing family, Hannah started to become distant. And in all of this, Jake lost his job. Eventually, Jake managed to join the BIIPD, but he still wasn't making much. Not that the job was easy. Jake was in constant stress. He worked hours behind a computer, having to sort through tons of electronic and paper records of the police department's activities, preserving them and assisting investigation teams in their cases. Jake and his family were getting by. They met the necessities, but they weren't saving anything for the future, nor were they able to just relax and enjoy the present. And Jake knew that was probably why Hannah was upset. Nonetheless, Jake put in all his effort to make things better. He worked overtime many days of the week, but the extra money didn't make a significant change to his paycheck. And in return, Jake ended up giving away more time of his life that he could have spent with his wife and his son. It had been many months of sincere dedication to work, and Jake was expecting a promotion soon. Help yourself, Jake. What's the occasion, Roger? I got a promotion. They gave me the position in the investigation department. Oh, that's great. Good for you. But a week later, when the promotion he was expecting for himself went to one of his colleagues, Jake became all the more stressed. What was he going to tell Hannah? What happened? Why do you look so stressed? Don't tell me you lost this job too. They gave the promotion to Roger. I knew this was going to happen. You're never going to get anywhere. We'll be stuck here, stuck spending all our money on these bills our whole life. Jake's relationship with Hannah only got worse since he broke the news to her. But he didn't stop trying. Hard work would pay off one way or the other. After another busy day at the precinct, Jake was on his way to the subway to catch a ride home. When all of a sudden, a van pulled up to him. The shaded windows rolled down, and a man dressed in black looked at him. BII Secret Service. Mr. Jake Mayers, will you please come with us? Jake was caught by surprise, but taking a look at the man's badge, he got onto the van. Had something happened? Was this part of another investigation? Is everything okay? We have been given orders from higher authorities to escort you to the headquarters. You will receive all information there. Confused and a little nervous at this point, Jake complied. The van drove out a bit far from town to a secluded area where they parked by a building. After a security check, Jake was then escorted inside. We were waiting for your arrival, Mr. Jake Mayers. I'm John Carter, head of the Secret Service. Secret Service? May I ask what this is about? Come with me. Jake followed Mr. Carter to his office where they both took a seat. Mr. Mayers, you've been chosen to join our team. For the past year, we've been keeping track of your work and contribution to the BIIPD, and I must praise your competency and loyalty to the job. We trust you, and we see you fitted to accept this position. You weren't promoted into the investigation department because you were promoted here as an intelligence analyst, but of course, this must remain confidential. Mr. Carter handed Jake a file. This is a list of people, highly influential and powerful. You'll be required to keep surveillance of their phone records, their online records, from browsing data, security footage. You will evaluate the information and data you receive to identify and mitigate potential unlawful activity. Jake wasn't expecting such a big responsibility all of a sudden, but he accepted the job. However, once he became involved, he soon came to know of information the BIIPD had kept confidential. All this time, he had been aware of all cases and records on file. But this was top-secret information. Jake was now spying into the personal lives of the most influential families, businessmen, and politicians. Yes, he was bending the laws. But this was a necessary protocol for the BII Secret Service to maintain law and order. Jake was now dealing with delicate information, secrets many of the richest businessmen across the states were hiding. These men had good reputations, they were respected and dignified, but Jake knew the truth. So he's bringing this into the country, and he's supplying these people? He's not a businessman, he's a thug. One of the biggest pharmaceutical companies is the biggest fraud. And what made things more intense was the fact that certain police departments were involved in these syndicates, excusing their actions. But investigations weren't just being run on these businessmen, but certain politicians too, and for legitimate reasons. Isn't he running for president? And he's involved in this? The deeper Jake dug, the more he became shocked and abhorred by the reality of what was going on in this society. But his job wasn't to judge, it was to make sure things functioned within certain boundaries. Jake was happy he had gotten the position. He was also making more money now, but he knew he wouldn't be able to tell anyone, not even Hannah. But that didn't mean he couldn't change his lifestyle. Sweetheart, our anniversary is coming up. I got you something. A dress? Why don't you wear this weekend and we'll go out somewhere nice? Why are you spending your money on all this? Did you get that promotion? You didn't. Do us both a favor and return this. You think taking me out to one dinner is going to make this miserable life better? But even after trying so hard, working so hard, and giving his best to strengthen their relationship, Hannah still had that one complaint, and Jake was becoming fed up. What would he do? That's when Jake realized hard work would never get him anywhere. You can never make $1 million. You have to take $1 million. And Jake knew exactly how he was going to take it. Senator Robert Adams, how do you think the public will react seeing these two ladies in your hotel room? Do you want this to be leaked? Mr. Donahue, it will only take one secret of yours to destroy your multi-million-dollar business. Do you want to play the game or pay the price? Jake began blackmailing these politicians and businessmen. He knew he was dealing with fire, but he had the means with which he could keep his identity a secret. How much money do you want? You will pay me in gold. Jake was more than aware that taking the money in cash wouldn't be wise. Money was easily traceable, so he always took his payments in gold. But just getting these men to pay up wouldn't be enough. He wasn't dealing with any ordinary people. They would definitely try to hunt him down, but finding him wouldn't be easy. If the gold isn't real, if the amount isn't what I asked for, and if you try to track me down, you'll be in trouble. This guy thinks he's smart. Put a tracker on the gold. We'll find out who he is. Just as told, the men dropped off their packages to those specific locations Jake had given. They were smart enough to put a tracker, but they weren't smart enough to know these specific locations had no network or surveillance. They were the blind spots in the system that Jake used to his advantage. Once Jake picked up the packages, he made his way to Chinatown. Over a period of 1 week, he divided the gold and dealt with various pawn shops, selling the gold in exchange for money, and ridding himself of all evidence. Within only a few months, Jake had managed to amass a huge amount of wealth, and all at a very low price. These politicians and businessmen had more than enough to give around, and as long as they kept their word, Jake kept his. This is our new home. What? Our home? But how? Where did you get the money? I've been saving up for some time now. I wanted to surprise you. Jake, you should have told me. Jake used the money to better his family life. He bought a car, a home, and saved the rest for their future. The plan had worked out to success, and best of all, this had brought together him and his wife. Hannah had never been this happy before. But the happiness and good times were once again short-lived. Because it wasn't before long, Hannah started bickering with him again, as if nothing would ever satisfy her. It was like she was always so distant from him. Sweetheart, come on, I have the weekend off. Why don't we spend it to ourselves? No phones, no TV, just you and me, like the old days. Haven't we spent enough time together? Anyways, I have a few errands to run tomorrow. And I'm just tired, Jake. Let me sleep. And for some time now, Jake had been noticing Hannah spent an awful amount of time on her phone. She went out a lot when she didn't have to. And it was one afternoon, when he received a call from his son's school that she was late to pick him up, Jake became suspicious. He took off from work and hurried to pick up his son when he bumped into Hannah, who had finally arrived 1 hour late. Where were you? I went across town to buy some things and I got caught up in the traffic. It was a mess today. What did you buy? It was nothing, don't worry about it. Let's get Alex home. Jake had no doubt she was hiding something from him, so he started to spy on her. But he wasn't prepared to find out what he did. For the past 2 years, Hannah had been going to a gym in the neighborhood. Not for any other reason, but that she was having an affair with her trainer, Richard Cohen. When Jake saw the security footage, when he saw FaceTiming records and numerous messages between Hannah and him, he fell speechless. All these years, she had treated him so horribly. All these years, he had worked hour after hour for her satisfaction, and she was cheating on him. Jake had been the fool to believe she had been behaving like that, all because of their financial hardship. If she loved him, she would have supported him through thick and thin. The only reason she was like that was because she didn't love him. She was only using him. But this wasn't going to happen anymore. Richard Cohen, owner of the Cohen Gymnasium, arrested for taking advantage of his female trainees. Private messages and videos of the trainer have been leaked by an anonymous source, revealing many of his hidden secrets. Numerous women are coming forth to testify of their mistreatment. Authorities have found several scandalous tapes in which Cohen recorded these women at his residence. Hannah was thundered when she read the headlines on the news one morning. The man she had been having an affair with was involved in such a lowly business. All this time she had cheated on Jake while he was the one trying for her, and Richard had only used her. What had she been doing? She nervously put down the newspaper and stared at Jake, sitting at the table, sipping on his coffee. Sweetheart, let's spend the day all to ourselves, just like you wanted. What do you want to have for breakfast? I'll whip it up right now. Jake chuckled as he took another sip of his coffee. That's all right. He picked up the newspaper from the table and furrowed his brows. Didn't you used to go to his gym? Hannah anxiously looked at the article without saying a word. His tapes just arrived at the police department. I'll be starting the investigation soon. Is Jake going to find out? What is going to happen now? Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.